Hey guys, and welcome back to the AT Chat. Today I wanted to recap what we know about the character of Cobb Vanth. My first real introduction to this character was via The Mandalorian Season 2 premiere, but he actually has a pretty interesting backstory worth going over, as well as discussing a few omissions regarding his past, and perhaps some of these omissions mean that there was a bit of retconning going on, but for now, that's unclear. So, kicking this off, Cobb Vanth lived on Tatooine for his entire life. Vanth was also once a slave, similar to Anakin Skywalker. In adding to that, we are told that he had a star-shaped mark carved into his back to demonstrate that he was a slave, that he was property. Eventually, after he became free, he ended up becoming the Sheriff of Mos Pelgo, and this was mentioned in The Mandalorian. Now that he was established as a sheriff in Mos Pelgo, on the night that the Death Star 2 was destroyed, rather than experiencing the freedom from the Empire, a mining collective came in to attack the locals of Mos Pelgo, as well as take whoever they could as slaves. Cobb Vanth escaped the situation, stealing a Camtono as he fled, and then for days, Cobb Vanth wandered the deserts of Tatooine without any sustenance until finally a giant sandcrawler came across him, saving his life, and provided him with water. When the Camtono was finally opened aboard the sandcrawler, it was revealed that it was full of silicax oxalate, specifically silicax oxalate crystals. And all that we really know is that these specific kind of crystals are native to Tatooine and very valuable. Because Cobb had all of those crystals, he was able to acquire a set of damaged Mandalorian armor, aka the acidified set Boba Fett either lost or left behind. And as I said earlier, there is a bit more to this story of acquiring the armor. An individual named Adwin Charu had also been on the Sandcrawler and was identified by Vanth as an off-worlder and representative for the Red Key Raiders. To make a long story short, both individuals wanted the Mandalorian armor. Adwin drew his blaster on Vanth. However, being the quicker of the two, Vanth shot Adwin in his shoulder. Adwin begged not to be killed, and then Vanth decided not to, telling Adwin to tell Movelin, the boss of the Red Key Raiders, to leave the sector. So now, Cobb had his Mandalorian armor, and he was setting off to Mos Pelgo to lay waste to the remaining members of the mining collective. Because Movelin didn't end up leaving at all, in this much we saw in the episode of The Mandalorian, he just destroys all of them. And now the sheriff with the Mandalorian armor is now known as the Marshal, protecting the people of Freetown from whatever else would come their way, eventually being a KRAYT dragon. When Cobb Vanth finally encountered a real Mandalorian, Din Djarin, as we saw, there were tensions at first due to Cobb wearing Mandalorian steel while not being a real Mandalorian. However, both came to the mutual understanding of one another, as well as an agreement to give back the armor if the Mandalorian helped the people of Freetown and local Tusken Raiders get rid of a KRAYT dragon. Now, within the episode of the Marshal, we find out some information regarding a quarrel between the people of Freetown and the Tusken Raiders. The Tuskens accuse Cobb and the town of stealing their water. They know about Mos Pelgo and about the sand people that Cobb Vanth had killed. Now Cobb argues the Tuskens raided their village, and he had to protect the town. In a year prior to meeting the Mando, this is when Freetown was attacked and 6 people were killed. And Cobb Vanth ended up killing around 12 Tuskens when it was all said and done. So of course, within this episode, we can see the tensions running high between Cobb Vanth and the Tusken Raiders when negotiating how to attack the dragon. The Mandalorian succeeds in taking down the dragon almost single-handedly, and surprisingly, his survival from the KRAYT dragon also gives us a bit of a hint into how Boba Fett possibly survived the Sarlacc pit. But in the end of this episode, Vanth, he was a man of his word and gave over the Mandalorian steel back to Din Djarin, and then they parted ways. So what's in store for Cobb Vanth is anybody's guess, but he was a very welcomed addition to the live-action series of Star Wars in general, and this really does make me want to pick up the Aftermath series again and try to read them. I admittedly didn't like them at first, I never gave them a fair shake, maybe now it's time to. So that's it for today's video. There are some other bits of information on Cobb Vanth and even more about how Boba Fett could have potentially survived, but for now, I'd like to keep this video simple, and hopefully you now know a bit more about the Marshal. If you like this video, please make sure you subscribe and hit the like button so you can stay updated on all my Mandalorian content, as well as my other various Star Wars related content from streams to analysis videos. AT is signing off.